Oh, I don't know. I mean, I guess, I feel like I drew on some stuff that was foundational in my childhood, in my Judaism, and then once I fell in love with the theater, I just decided I was going to be a creative, artistic person who lived in New York City and made things, for his life. And, along the way, I made certain decisions that allowed me to do that. I made some smart decisions. I fortuitously met some of the right people that allowed me to, make a life as an artist. So it's hard to say like how I was able to do it. Like my friend Ben uses this metaphor, like any life in a creative, art, in the creative arts is like, it's a jungle and you get a machete and you're hacking through the forest and you have to create your own path, but your path closes up behind you, so you can't walk someone else's path. You have to figure out how to hack through it on your own. But I think I have this great foundation of, being from Columbus, having this great Jewish background. I think if you're someone who makes theater for a living, having a background in Talmud and Torah is a great foundation for reading text and digging underneath text. I had really bad allergies and asthma when I was a kid, so
yeah.
You did too? Yeah. So sometimes I couldn't go outside, and my mom would, just park me at the table with paints, and I was really into drawing, and I really loved visual art, but then once I got on stage, I kind of, and I loved singing too, which I now do, but I was always, looking back, I was the rare creative kid who also, like, I really excelled at school. Like I kind of did, so I liked the, I liked the art classes and I liked the academic classes, all of it. Well, I mean, I take Tikkun Olam pretty seriously, and I think about what roles I'm taking and why I'm taking them. I mean, some projects you read and you think, I don't want to be associated with this. Like, just morally and ethically, it doesn't feel like. Now, that's not to say, I've held a gun. I've used foul language all the time. I'm not like super puritanical about it, but at the same time, I do try to keep an eye towards what I feel like might be culturally more needed. And I think we're in a moment of grief and anger and division, and I feel like, can I lend my voice and my talents to something that is at least edging towards healing some of that?
Right. And
that feels like a very Jewish thing to me. Well, I've never made a secret of my Judaism. I speak about it forthrightly, and I certainly feel like with a lot of other American Jews that until the last couple of years, these kind of overt anti-Semitic acts felt like something in the past, and I'm sure many other marginalized groups feel that way too. There's just been this horrifying spike in these kind of things. It feels like something got uncorked where people feel that they can say and do these vile things. So, I've been rattled, I've been uncomfortable, it's your heart breaks around it, I wrote a song, I might play it tonight, but I wrote a song about after the Tree of Life shooting. I was very, very heartbroken over that, and every shooting is heartbreaking. And I feel, the reason Jews have been so historically aligned with other marginalized groups is because they understand it. I mean, we have, every holiday is about some other oppressive regime we lived under. So, I feel elementally Jewish, and I feel like a Jewish artist in a lot of ways. So I try to, I don't know what to say other than it's really unfortunate, and I think it has to be confronted head on, and I think the most dangerous thing we can do is bury our head in the sand around it. I mean, a cheeky answer would be I'm at this point not skilled to do anything else. Like, I really don't. When I write scripts, and I don't want them to be like actors or writers, I have to be like, how do you have jobs where you wake up and put on a tie? Like, I've never had that kind of thing, and and from my first year out of school, I think my dad helped me with rent my first year out of school, and then I've been able to make my living doing this. So I feel incredibly fortunate. But you know, I think that the roles, you know, you do these things, you get these roles, or you know, writing and directing films was something I didn't know if I could do it, and then I did it, and I thought, oh, I'm actually pretty good at this. There's a thrill and an excitement to scaring yourself and then stepping into that fear, conquering that fear, doing it anyway. You know, they say do it scared, and I'm constantly having to do that. And I actually am at the point where I turn down work that's going to be too easy, that feels like I know how to do this, or I've done this before, I've hit these notes, and I don't know why I would do this. So it's not just like an ethical thing, it's sometimes like, is this going to challenge me? Is this going to freak me out sufficiently? And I just find it fun. I think storytelling is fun. I also feel like my career gets to change as I change. I mean, certainly I'm getting different roles now because I have a little gray in the sides of my hair. You know what I mean? Like things, as you change, the roles change, the job description changes, and why I'm doing it changes. So I feel like I'm in a really interesting place where you have to keep redefining why you're doing it. But it's fun. You get to meet all sorts of people. You get to work with your heroes. You get you get to be a part of storytelling at a really large scale, especially if it's film and TV. And that's all I ever really wanted to do. I mean, it's a nice thing to ponder. I don't, like I said, you know, my path closed up behind me, so they'll have to figure it out for themselves. I think it's more about the fact that I did it and other people have done it. A lot of actors from Ohio, actually. That you can grow up in far away from New York or L.A. or any of the other kind of arts centers and make a pilgrimage and go and figure it out. And if you have some talent, and you have some drive, and you have some stamina and resilience, and you really want to do it, and you're kind to people, which is important, you know, it can be done. It's just the desire has to be very strong. Like, I was just up at the National Theater Institute, the Eugene O'Neill Theater Center, where I went during college for a semester, and my friend Rachel runs the program now, and she knew me, you know, when I was 20 and training to be an actor. And I said, what was I like? What was I like at 20? And she said a couple things, all really nice, but she said, you were devout about your dedication to training and learning and growing in the theater. And I just love that, like, theological language around how I approached it. I was devout about it. So I think it requires, not that it can replace a religion, because I actually found it can't, but it does require it requires a lot of you. And if you're willing to do it, you know, it can be done. That's what I kept saying, is like, I looked at all these people and I said, hey, they were from a small town in Ohio or Indiana or Kansas, and they did it. Why can't I? It was kind of like that question, like, why can't I?